An Australia without rugby league is not Australia.
Still.
Rugby league has been a fabric of our society for hundreds of years. It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of rugby league.
It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
G'day Dennis, g'day Kris, Stephen Ferris here. Listen, right now it appears after the first round of the finals, it's a bit like those orchards which are swollen with fruit but don't have enough travellers to pick the damn fruit to deliver. We've now got these games which are terribly exciting but a half-assed crowd. Not quite delivering the atmosphere that we would hope to have.
So this is another impact of the pandemic you're referring to.
Yes.
That there's all this fruit in the food bowl that is Australia.
Ready to be picked and
there are no
packaged.
backpackers.
No backpackers. No
you're saying
Germans.
the cornucopia that was on offer during the semi-finals, the smorgasbord, the banquet that was the rugby league semi-finals, was we were undernourished because there weren't enough people to consume.
Can't deliver on the promise.
Wow.
Yeah.
The malnourished rugby league community.
No, I was at one game. Dennis, you were at two games. Why don't we start on the Friday night?
I think you've been spoiled.
Yes.
I think you've been spoiled and ruined by the ridiculous sound effects on Fox Sports and Channel 9.
Yes, that's atmosphere.
Because I'm hearing, when I was at Penrith on Friday night, Penrith had, 7,000?
Yeah.
It was almost a Jets crowd.
Canberra had 9,200, yeah.
But the Penrith crowd, all the ABC techs want to work at Penrith because the crowd is up. Now, 16 straight is going to get your
do
crowd
that
up.
for you.
But the noise they make is fantastic. They're so excited. You get the 416 straight across the crowd at the Panthers Bay, and they are singing
Is that
songs.
something to do with the
They're loving
dynamics of having Little Mount Everest next year?
That's right.
It probably is bouncing back off Little Mount Everest.
Could you feel the chill of the wind coming off Little Mount Everest?
Little Mount Everest, yeah, and base camp was there. And
Even though a certain person who was intending to climb that Little Mount Everest was absent?
Yeah, now we've talked about having a couple of Tigers who left Brookvale early a few weeks ago and that causing all sorts of trouble. Some certain people didn't even bother to turn up.
Right.
Didn't even turn up to watch their boys.
He didn't have his Sherpas with him, did he?
That's right.
Who's going to turn up and climb Little Mount Everest without a Sherpa?
His problem was he thought game day was tomorrow.
Right.
Yes. Well, once SBW got used to a certain level of support in his accommodations in Graceland in Pitt Street in Sydney when he arrived.
He's spoiled too.
That's right.
Yeah.
You expect an entourage, and when I guess for budgetary reasons, Nick says if you're not playing, there's no entourage. He just thought better of going.
There won't be toys for your kids.
There won't be toys for your kids.
You're not suggesting that Flash car's been taken away, are you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I tell you what, though, the lease agreement's being very carefully reviewed right now.
And extra braces for next. I mean, it's going to need a lot of care. We'll get to Sunnyville later, though, I think, though. I want to hear about the game and what you saw, what you felt with Penrith and the struggles and that last try, of course, to the Chooks.
There was a lot of excitement. It was a great game. It was really good footy. It was, what more can you say? The Chooks' last try was a nightmare with the whole players not knowing the rules of the game they're playing.
Right.
And taking the ball when the short kickoff didn't go 10 metres, and Naden, who's been fantastic all year, just eyes lit up, took the ball before it had crossed the threshold.
And it was allowed to go.
Hadn't broken the plane.
Hadn't broken the plane of the 40-metre line, the vertical plane.
Right.
And he got penalised for it, and the Roosters scored off the penalty. So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, what was interesting about that is they did one of those coaches' surveys things on the Fox League show, The Fan, Dennis, which you said you were going to be on. And every week I tune in, and I get nothing.
Apparently, I'm going to promo it here. Next week is the arts episode of The Fan.
So you're definitely not on next week.
So I'm on next week with Rugby League the musical, and also Stephen Russo with his with his artworks, with his texture colour, his texture pictures.
All right, I'll rate its socks off.
If there are two teams that don't connect, and I did notice that. Lindy Morrison from the Go-Between said I had to sit through the footy because of my stepdaughter or my uncle or my niece or whatever, and I said, nothing wrong with that. It's all culture. It's all Sydney, they can work together. And now, do you see yourself more on the arts side as a cultural thing or more on the sports side, Dennis?
I see myself a little like Tibby Cotter.
Very
Bringing
expensive.
the two together.
An unravelling Mobius strip.
No, more than I bring the two together, but no one turns
I
up.
tell you what, you never miss Lindy Morrison if she's at an event. That's all I can
don't.
say. You
No,
really
no.
don't miss out. So anyway, I'm the
Likewise, Goff and
fan.
Margaret Whitlam, you never used to miss. Now, what do you think of Tibby Cotter Bridge, by the way, Chris? Love it.
Well,
Architectural wonder.
it's the gateway to the Hall of Shame when we build the pyramid,
Yeah.
in which
There's
we put.
there's a plot.
That's right. We put Mal Meninga in the sarcophagus, and for future generations to uncover what our great game once
Can we
was.
just ask, do either of you know who Tibby Cotter was?
Cricketer?
Oh, he was a cricketer. Turn of the century, early 1900s.
One of those guys used to bowl on a cap.
Why him?
he-
Because it's a funny name?
What does it cross? It crosses Anzac Parade.
Yeah.
He passed away at the Charge of the Light Horse, the Battle of Beersheba.
Right.
In 1917.
Right. It's like the
So-
Rubicon, is it?
Well, yeah, it is. At the Charge of the Light Horse, he perished there. He was a stretcher bearer, but he was in the charge. And he was a cricketer.
Yeah.
And he actually played in a famous wartime test match between Australia and England troops. So, it's a great piece of history having his name. It's a shame it's such a
Several generations
unused bridge.
great.
It'll get used.
Eventually.
It'll get used. Yeah.
Several generations great uncle of mine, Charles Dalton, was also in the charge and survived.
Is
There
that
you go.
right?
That's
Chris?
right. Yeah, my father is enormously proud
Right.
of that.
And
But I
I
haven't
did-
got to my
well,
point
yeah,
yet.
well,
But I did think of it
What's
as I drove out to Penrith on Friday. I did pass the monument to the Light Horse under the big interchange there, and the
Yes,
the
yes.
M4 and
But
the.
Yes.
that's not the Meccano set, is it?
No, it's a Meccano set, but there's all the orange
little
poles
poles,
lined
yeah,
up,
yeah.
and they have little
Yeah,
fluffy
well,
things
it
on
was-
top.
Yes. And it's named something. What's it? It's got an actual sort of stretch.
It's the Light Brigade Memorial,
Isn't
Light
that-
Horse
Memorial
Memorials.
Drive or
Isn't
something?
Roden Cutler sort of mentioned, I think?
Oh no, no. I was heading out to Ingleburn to call some wrestling the other
Right,
day,
yeah.
and it's the Cutler VC exchange.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, the Roden Cutler. Oh, that's where the big triangle mount
right,
is.
that's right, yeah.
And I grew up in the street that Roden Cutler's brother lived in.
No way.
Oh,
Chris.
there you go.
And his
You're
son played rugby union for
everywhere.
Australia. How about that?
You're everywhere.
And who would you get to design the Hall of Shame, Chris? What shape would it take? Would it be like? And I now like to call it the big tuna, which is Packers' thing.
Yeah.
Not the uncircumcised penis, as many people are.
There's a few people calling it the gherkin.
The gherkin. Oh,
because-
London's got a gherkin.
Some people take the gherkin off. Some people like
The gherkin is the shard.
What
isn't
shape
it?
would you like for the Hall of Shame to do? How would you like it
No,
designed?
who would I get? I get Molly Meldrum's architect. Because whoever's designed the Egyptology
Yeah,
theme
yeah.
that runs through Molly's house,
Yeah.
I really want to see. It's our version,
Yeah.
and it's not literal,
Yeah.
but it's our version, an Australianisation
Yeah.
of the Great Pyramid.
Of course, of course. And wouldn't Mal look great dressed up?
Oh,
Have
terrific.
either of you seen the Canberra owl sculpture?
No.
No.
Google the Canberra owl. There's debates as to whether it's an owl or a
Talking about
phallus.
sculptures while we're on this in culture.
Well, rugby league and arts.
You know how there's this this thing about ex-slave traders, etc., and pull the statue down and paint over it, and James Cook was no good, blah, blah, blah. And John Graham, the MP pushing for live music to be fully supported by
Banned.
the local... Hey?
He's could be fully banned.
No, supported. No, he's on the
Oh.
Labor side, and he's pushing the
Oh,
government to stump up, basically. He's nominated a few musicians to have their statues made. What local...
Bon Scott.
Well,
Oh, he's got one in Perth.
Got one in Fremantle.
But,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, sorry,
He
Fremantle.
mentioned Jonathan Schwartz, jazz bass player extraordinaire. Now, people would go, Tibby Cotter? A lot of people wouldn't go, but putting a jazz bass player, double bass player on a statue, I mean, I mentioned to him the other night, and he went, what, really?
Was he in the Don Burrows quartet or Galapagos Duck?
He's much younger than that.
Or is he in the next? I mean,
Would
you
you
know,
have
my
Billy
Australian
Thorpe?
jazz knowledge is patchy
Would
at
you
best.
would you put Billy Thorpe up?
Yeah, I put him up.
Yeah.
I put him up in the cross
Yeah.
where Surf
Yeah.
City was.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
right,
Have-
right
have
where that new
Billy-
hotel is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Hutchins would be a
Well, that's being
popular
built.
choice.
Yeah, that's happening.
Where's he been built?
North Shore somewhere, where apparently Rhett, the brother, said he spent a lot of time playing in the bush here and this suburb here. And the
Harbour
council,
Diggers.
Must be. The council paid for it over there. And they took it away from Melbourne because Melbourne wanted to build it. They
You're
went,
kidding?
"Melbourne."
What
is wrong with
it
Melbourne?
with them? They're just
Yeah.
thieves. They're like the Romans to
Magpies.
the Greeks. They just steal everything.
I'm never getting back to my point that was on the fan.
There
I
was a-
remember what it was, but
Please tell us.
but
the point
probably-
of the fan.
Probably it's time for
Can't
Helen
stop
Reddy,
you.
surely.
Yeah,
Watching the fan.
Helen Reddy, yeah.
Can I just give my Helen Reddy, a girl I went to university with has made the movie for Stan, Andrew Moon.
Yeah.
So I Am Woman. I'm definitely going to give it a watch, particularly now that Helen's left us. But I love acceptance speeches at awards that go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? Paul Mack thanking all the ecstasy dealers at the Arias or whatever they were called
Was
in
he with
those
Sam
days.
Burgess? No.
We'll come to that. When George C. Scott won it for Patton, and I think it was Goldie Hawn went, "Oh my God, the winner is George C. Scott," right? And of course, a representative of the Native American community went up and
No,
didn't
Marlon
accept
Brando.
the award on his behalf.
Marlon Brando did that.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah,
just George C. Scott just didn't turn up at all.
No, it was Brando's award.
Right, so
because
that-
he was a big supporter of the.
And what was Brando for? The Godfather.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
But when Helen Reddy won the Grammy for
Well, she
the
did.
record of the year, she gave her speech and she goes, "And finally, I'd like to thank God because she made it all possible."
yes.
good
That
line.
is
Yeah.
magnificent.
Yeah.
Wish I'd said that.
And I always thought if I ever won an award, which let's face it, I'm never going to, I do an anthology of all those things, you know, like you love me, you really love me, and all that sort of stuff. And then say, and I'd like to thank all the ecstasy dealers all around Australia. You love me, you really love me.
There's a couple of car crashes, aren't there? There was the one woman, African American, that just wandered. She just wandered and just, spatial dimension stuff,
Well, and then if you go into the murky waters of great fails in presenting history,
Yeah.
Mike Cole from the Mod Squad, who was hammered at the Logies and got up and just mumble, and the only thing you heard was, "Oh shit!" Like this.
Well, then there was at the ARIA Awards, a certain Bernard Fanning received an award. No, he had to give an award, and it went to who's that precocious boy? Catch my disease, Ben Lee.
Ben Lee.
Went to Ben Lee, and Bernard Fanning clearly was not a fan, and he had to present the award. And live on Channel V, the deceased and much missed Channel V. Who were at the awards
Was Andrew V from Channel G presenting?
That's the one. Andrew V has turned up and gone, so,
my Osher.
and Osher has put a little bit of honey in the pot and gone, so how was that presenting the award to, what were your thoughts on Ben Lee? And Bernard Fanning has gone live on camera. Oh, he's a precocious little Carmichael Hunt.
I never saw that. That's great.
I instantly forgave him for anything he'd ever done and loved Bernard Fanning from that moment on.
And can you ever forget Bert Newton with Muhammad Ali
yeah.
on stage?
Calling him boy.
I like the boy. What'd you call me, Roy?
Yeah.
And Bert genuinely was
no idea.
unaware of what he'd done.
Of course.
Do you want to see me pivot this back to the football game on
Yes.
Friday night?
Yeah.
I want to see you
When-
pivot it back to the fan.
when-
What happened at the fan?
Well, Robert, they asked all the coaches
that was it.
what do they hate most about things happening on the football field, and Robbo said players who don't know the rules.
Bang, we're
And-
back to Naden
Yes.
picking up the ball
Right.
that hasn't made 10 metres.
And ironically,
Isn't that why refs are there?
sorry.
Isn't that why the ref is there?
Yeah, well, clearly. So, oddly enough, he was a beneficiary of Brent Noden not knowing the rules. But my other pivot back was when Ben Lee was going out with Claire Danes.
Of course. Yeah.
They used to go to the coffee shop Gusto in Hall Street, Bondi, next to my friend JR, who had a shop there called The Bode.
That's where Jason Donovan collapsed.
Fell over, famously. It all happens at Gusto's, right?
And you know what? He was coming to our party over the road at Shonky.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, so my
We
friend JR
never-
had the shop at Bode next door, which is now
Got
across
excited
the
too
road.
early, I think.
And where did I watch the Roosters in Penrith on Friday night? At my friend JR's place.
Right.
Yes, and he's a Roosters fan, so we really went through the 12 steps. Like, as did all the underdogs.
Yeah.
All the underdogs jumped out by
Came
two
out
tries
early,
in every game. And then, so we went from buoyancy and hopefulness through to concern, fear, panic, outright anger.
Yes.
At one stage, he called him a Michael Luckin cheat and a Carmichael Hunt. And I asked him 30 seconds later, do you believe any of that? He goes, not at all.
Do they get percentages on this royalties?
Yeah. and then in the last 10 minutes as the Roosters bravely came back,
Bravely, yeah.
looking for positives. Oh, well, this will happen next week, et cetera, et cetera. And I think you could describe every loser, every underdog this week as brave, resilient and beaten. And in Parramatta's case, according to their coach, Brad Arthur, dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time I think the Roosters have had, from living memory, had to go on through every step of the final series.
Well, for a long time. And I think no
Modern era.
greater an authority than your former broadcast partner, Brett Oaten,
Ah, yes.
has pointed out in the two premierships over the course of the campaign, I think of 3 games each in the last 2 years, the Roosters conceded 3 tries and 4 tries.
Yeah.
They coughed up 5.
Right.
in the one.
But it's pretty emblematic of every game. 60 points per game. The oven bell wreaking its havoc.
That's entertainment.
Yeah, apparently.
So, my experience when I went to Canberra, where you weren't there,
I wasn't able to be there.
no,
Yeah.
9,000 people. You could feel it. You could feel that there was a bit of an effort.
How
from-
was the clap? Did the clap feel like a clap? Did it
Yeah,
reverberate around
you
the
know when you
stadium?
look at it, you know when they take a photo of Bondi Beach during COVID times, it looks like really crowded because they're
Yeah.
doing it that way.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've noticed that they've had the shots across the grandstand.
Across the ground, so it looks jam packed. Yeah, the same with the claps. So you don't really notice all the empty seats.
Yeah.
You could feel the lack of noise, and there was a lot of G-up necessary to sort of bring the atmosphere back to what we all know what is finals footy atmosphere. But I really thought there was a lot of anxiety in the audience. I could feel when fans sour.
Oh, yeah.
The Raiders fans were going, oh, shit, this is no good.
We've been there before. We've had the Sharks beat us before in
Yes,
Canberra. We've
yes.
had Michael Ennis doing the Viking clap.
that, yeah.
Every 4 years, the Raiders play the Sharks in this exact
and
game.
the Sharks looked on fire the first half. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
really
And it's
moving.
been Sharks, Raiders, now Raiders. So we've alternated.
You've done it,
So there
right.
was stats on our side saying we're going to win this because it's the fourth-year cycle.
Right.
But there was a lot of nerves.
Yeah.
I was pretty unhappy.
Yeah, I heard you guys
gotta
didn't
say.
play well. I have
Well-
to confess I didn't see the game.
Look, I think you're not giving enough credit to the other boys. You're wearing them on your shoulder.
Yeah, I know.
You
Well,
know,
a lot of
they-
Newtown Jets are represented.
Wasn't it six or eight?
Yeah, 6 or 8, I think.
Of last year's grand finalists.
As John Morris highlighted, a lot of inexperience, not many 50 gamers out there.
And a kabuki haircut as well.
Yeah, Toby Rudolph. But look, I think there was just a general concern that you go, not the Sharks. We couldn't lose to the Sharks. But there was a key moment, wasn't there, Dennis, with players not knowing the rules?
There was a most beautiful moment. There was one of the most. It was confluence. Worlds came together, and justice was served. It was like Judge Dredd came in, guns blazing, when
Can't
Jackie
wait.
Boy Whiten was held down in a tackle because Fafita was trying to rip the ball off him, and he went on a bit long, and so Joey Atkins has gone 6 again. And then he's kept on with it after the 6 again has been gone, and he's rolled Jack over.
What can you
and
do?
held him down.
Penalty?
He's like, that's a penalty now.
yeah.
Now it's a ruck
Discretionary
infringement.
penalty.
Discretion,
apparently.
yeah.
And so he's blown a penalty. Wade Graham has gone, no, challenge. Now, what was he challenging? Because there was no question that he, A, held him down, B, was trying to reach
what's
the
the video
ball,
we have to look
hands
for?
on the ball. It was like, what are you challenging?
And discretionary.
And discretionary.
Yeah.
So by the rules, it actually can't be challenged. But
Can't be
anyway,
challenged, no.
Jackie Boy looks, my players are on side, taps the ball, runs forward, scores a try.
Fafita's
Yeah.
walking backwards, going challenge with his back to the play.
They're all doing that. They're
But
all now we get to so scored a try and the Sharks blew up deluxe as the vernacular would have it. And Wade Graham
Special edition deluxe.
Wade Graham had a big go at Joey Atkins, who under enormous pressure of a very angry and large human standing right in his grill, he's gone 3 things. 1, I called 6 again. 2, I gave a penalty. And it was discretionary penalty. It can't be challenged. 3, they were all on side. They're 20 metres out. He could tap the ball. Nothing has gone wrong here.
Can I say to you two, though, how often have you gone, they've just done the quick run and tap penalty, and then they get pulled back? And you go,
Yes,
why?
because if there's a player, one of his players has run through and gone in front, they can't do it.
Correct.
And the referee has
Or-
to be behind it as well.
Or if you're
The
inside the
referee has
10.
to-
Or if you're inside the 10.
Well, inside the 10, I
Yes,
didn't know that.
Yes, but funnily enough,
Wow, why is
although
that?
the 10 metres from the line because inside, so you can't be back a full
Yeah,
10.
yeah.
But funnily enough, you know who asked that question, Steve?
Who?
Gus Gould. So you and
Jesus,
Gus Gould are on
yeah.
the same page.
Now,
Did
but,
you-
But,
Rugby League
but
might-
boys, this is where it gets beautiful.
Okay, Judge Dredd
because
comes in.
2018, you may recall a game at Shark Park where the Raiders were 2 points down. The Raiders, it was all even, and Ricky McFarlane, the touch judge, has put his flag up, and the Raiders players have stopped, and then
That's
the Sharks
fine.
have
Yeah,
scored.
yeah.
And
Now,
one of the many Katoas scored, correct?
One of them. When the flag goes up, it's the same as a whistle.
Yeah,
It stops
game off.
play.
Yeah.
So the Raiders players have stopped, and the Sharks have scored.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, "Oh, play the whistle, play the whistle, play the whistle." No. In fact, Redfern, Pat has had it going. Oh, play the whistle, play the whistle. Not knowing that the flag being up, this is Redfern.
That is
Pat,
the
not knowing
whistle.
rules. Flag going up
Yeah.
is the whistle.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't notice Wade Graham walking up to the referee, Jerry Sutton. Jerry, excuse me, Jerry. I know you're going to go upstairs, but you need to look at the touch judge because he raised his flag, so the Raiders stopped. Had he done that,
Yeah.
I would say, poor Wade Graham. It's really unfortunate that he had his back turned and was. Now I'm saying, suffer in your jocks, Wade Graham. Enjoy it, revel in it, because you had the opportunity to write history and you're on the wrong side of it. It's beautiful. And you've been knocked out of the semis because of it. Sharks on your shoulders and all. And, and if I may, in the same game, at the same moment as Grant Atkins was going upstairs to check the try to make sure he'd tapped the ball and that everyone was on side, he had an additional thing. He's like, he was talking to Horse Maxwell, and he goes, "Oh, Jared." At which point, Jared Croker's like surprised, comes over and goes, "Oh no, not you, Jared Maxwell."
And are you saying that Graham karmically balanced out of the Origin squad as well as a result of what happened 2 years ago?
Well, it's quite possible. It's quite possible.
What was your best song? What was your biggest impact? What you go, you know what, I nailed it there.
Yeah. Can I give me 5 minutes?
Well, we could have a break.
I can go for another piece of history.
I think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I go? May the 7th, 1995, North Sydney Oval. Eddie Ward is the referee. The Raiders were down 18-0 at half-time against the poor old Bears. Halfway through, I was there with several mates, and we were full flat, all sails to the wind.
Right.
Drunk.
And at half-time, we were going, 18-0, it's not enough. You know it's not enough, Bears fans. You needed to be 20-0 up, and you're only 18-0 up. Halfway through the second half, still 18-0. There's a penalty 20 metres out. Laurie Daly gets the ball, looks at Eddie Ward, points at the goalpost and says, can I tap and go? And Eddie Ward says, you're pointing at the post. And Laurie said, it was like biblical. 3 times before the cock crowed, he said, but can I tap and go? And Eddie said, yes, but you are pointing to the post. So, okay, I want to tap and go. Okay, you can. Tap, go, score.
You've lost me there. Why was he tapping at the... Why was he...
He was creating an impression in
'cause
the
the Bears-
defence
Yeah.
that he's going to take the penalties.
So the Bears are all walking over
They're
behind
relaxing.
the post.
He deceived them, Stephen.
He's a trickster.
And so Laurie went and scored, and then Jason Taylor was arguing from the kickoff,
Wow, that's
and the
great.
Raiders scored again. They won 20-18. It was one of the most beautiful games in my life.
At the
So
glorious grounds of North Sydney Oval.
So I'm pulling in the Laurie Daly, Jack
Yeah.
Whiten.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making the
Yeah,
comparison.
yeah,
People
yeah.
have made it before, and I've gone, I'm making it now.
It's foreign to you because that sort of duplicitous behaviour would never occur
No, in
to
our
yours or
teams.
my team.
No. No, the only thing I can mention, and I forgot with Lara, was Nathan Feen. When everybody was going, it's going to be the field goal, Jamie Soward. He was looking at Jamie, he was doing that routine, and then he just went, popped over.
Oh.
Now, that's that sort of trickery, isn't it?
Beautiful.
By the way,
Duplicitous?
just as a side issue, you got a happy birthday message from Nathan Blacklock, correct?
No,
Oh, you got that for your brother.
My brother
Yeah, he
Mash,
got
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I watched that.
Yeah.
And that's right, it was for MASH. And he went in some detail about that try at Leichhardt Oval
Yes.
at the last minute.
Yes.
Can I just simply say about that?
Yeah,
I was there.
you were there. I mean...
Hated that moment.
We all, in unison, brothers went, give it a Blacklock. And sure enough, he did it. The
And that's
magic.
why they
Chip
did
over
it.
the top.
And then, of course, it was not just the flip,
Yep.
it was the double flip at the end.
The double flip.
It was
Hey,
glorious.
guys, can we go to a break?
Why not?
Yeah, go.
I've called a break!
Yeah, well, the couple of things that we've seen with these silly elbows at the end, that's just heat of the moment. You're in the battle, you're fired up. Sometimes it's hard to stop.
Hey, fired up. Here we are. Kris, Denis, and myself, Stephen. Take it away, Kris.
So I had a soiree on Saturday night, which is why
I
didn't-
wasn't there.
I know. Well, you were working.
Yeah.
I wasn't there either.
No, well, you weren't
I
working.
had the night off.
Let me tell you, you step on a few toes when you observe the rules and only invite 20 people.
Yeah.
But it's not so much that people go...
It's like a wedding.
go-
You had a wedding?
no, just a soiree. People aren't offended that they've missed out on any of the event. They're just offended you didn't give them the opportunity to be invited, right? That's been the
of
thing.
course, yeah.
And so we had a mob, and we knew they were hungry, so we had to feed them.
Right.
And
What did you feed them?
well, we
Not Subway, I hope.
So are you in the catchment of any of... what catchments are you in? For?
well, if we're talking what our dilemma was, we had some finger food and some fruit platter and
Yeah.
and a few
not gonna keep you
sweets and
going.
whatever, but it wasn't going to work.
That's not
And
going
it-
to keep you going.
And it occurred to me we're in the catchment area of the Artarmon outlet of Doughboy Pizza.
Right.
Right.
So doughboypizza.com.au.
Yes.
You go online, and this was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and said, I need 6 pizzas stat. I need a combination of vegetarian and those with meat or seafood on them.
Yeah.
A combination of gluten-free, spelt-based, and original thin and crispy.
Wow.
And I entered...
Not one I need.
That's right. And I need them at 8:30 p.m.
Yes, sharp.
Exactly. And I was smart enough to realise that if I entered the code FIREUP,
Yes.
in other
That
words...
spells fire up.
Fire up.
Wow.
20% off.
Yes.
Which I duly received. And you know what happened at 8:30 as all 20 people, which was the legal number?
Ding dong.
Ding dong. And there they were. And based on Lara Pitt's testimony on this very show last week,
You didn't.
2 cheesy garlic breads
And how
as
did they
well.
go?
Sensational.
Right.
When you said I need a combination of gluten-free, non-gluten-free, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, etc., did you leave them to make the combination, or did you tailor your own?
We consulted.
You consulted.
Yeah, consulted online. And we came to the perfect arrangement. And...
And that is ham and pineapple.
Or pineapple.
If you remember our testimonial last week from Johnny Keldoulis, he says we're 53 ingredients, and for my family, we need 2, ham and pineapple. So they were delicious. They were thoroughly consumed, enjoyed. It was money well spent. And for the next 3 weeks, if you go online and simply order using the code FIREUP, you'll go into the draw to join us on our grand final wrap show here on Fire Up Quite Australia.
So does that mean you might be joining us?
True. I would like to win, but I've actually, employees, ... You'll join us here at the Batuta Advocate Studios. You might meet a couple of the Batuta Advocate boys. They said they'll be around. We'll enjoy some Doughboy.
Do they do stand-up?
Well, I think they're just happy to be in the moment.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll enjoy some Doughboy pizza together, and we'll hear your views about the rugby league season.
Now, can we ask,
as you can get sick of hearing our views?
with your party, so you organise the nourishment
Yes.
at 8:30. How long did it kick on for?
So
How long did the nourishment last? How
Yes.
long did the energy
How
from the
good
pizzas?
was that Doughboy?
How
How
long did it keep
functional
you
was it,
going
Kris?
for? When did you kick the last straggler out?
Well, and look, I do have to acknowledge that daylight saving did set
Have
the
an
clock
impact,
So it was 1 hour
forward.
short.
Yeah.
Yep.
6 a.m., Dennis.
6
6 a.m.
The pizza's
That's how
kept them
good
going till
Doughboy
6.
is.
And can I tell you, at 8:15, the party was a train wreck.
It was
People
heading
were not
down.
talking to each other. They were huddling in their little
Were they
cabals.
angry?
Yeah.
Well, I think that they were certainly
Thumper stamping his foot?
Blood sugar was a big issue.
Yeah.
And seriously, the box is open and the party just began.
Yeah. Kris, I know that feeling. I did a party once up at Bondi Golf Club for, and I've forgotten her name, the woman who did the
Is this the
design,
one with
Lizzie
big-
Gardner, who
is
did
this
the
one with
design.
big sewage pipe in it?
Yeah, the
Yes,
big body.
yes. Knockabout sort of place, and it was then. I'm sure it still is. The Oscar winner, Academy Award winner for costumes.
Oh, yes.
And there was a number of performers and singers, and nothing was going to generate any action. I don't think Doughboy existed then. That was the
Right,
problem.
right.
It was over 20 years ago.
But they hired Elizabeth Burton. Has anybody heard of Elizabeth Burton?
It sounds familiar.
She's a legendary. She was the famous stripper, what the great stripper that went to Vietnam to perform for the troops to G 'em up a little bit, and
Fire 'em up a little bit.
performance artist, I would call her. And the things that she did on the floor just generated so much excitement amongst women and men. I'm not talking sexuals, I'm talking, oh my God, what's going on here? Party, instant, starter.
Are you confessing that your music was not getting it going?
My music didn't do the trick. I tried everything.
Have you tried getting your gear off and writhing
tried
on the
that.
floor? Maybe that
Look, let's talk. Let's get in the sewer, shall we?
Right, let's get down there.
I've got some chills running through my system. I watched Melbourne on the weekend. Ooh. And man, something, we joke about HG and Roy, angry pills.
Yes.
They've got the angry pills in them. They've
Brutal.
stepped up to another level. They
Brutal,
are fired
clinical.
up, I got to say, yeah.
Brutal, clinical,
Horrifying.
efficient.
I mean, that Smith, Brandon Smith.
Brandon Smith.
He was all over everybody. All over everybody. I mean, unstoppable force. And I'm afraid. Very afraid.
Can you see them winning the whole thing?
I can.
Really?
Yeah. In one game, I just saw it. Yeah, they are another level.
Despite what Volandis has done, changed the fabric of the game,
Yeah.
and we still end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Storms as premiers.
And can I just say what exemplifies Storm better than anything we've ever seen, and even including it was a setup. It just says everything. Brandon Smith walking off the field, caught on camera by a mate, stealing candy from a child.
A lollipop.
A lollipop.
A lollipop.
That's right.
And I'm worried. What I'm worried
And
about
did you
in
read about
these-
Chuppa Chup recently?
in these, what have they done? They made them smaller,
You
haven't
know who
they?
designed the logo on Chuppa Chup?
Oh, no, I'd have a crack at this.
Come on.
Someone from the...
Reg Mombasa?
No.
Robert Crumb.
No, Salvador Dali.
Oh, Salvador Dali.
He was friends with the guy who owned the company and said, I can't quite get the packaging right and the brand right. Give me a napkin. Designed it on the spot. Boom.
And what, they changed the brand?
No, they've kept it. It's
They've
Salvador
kept it.
Dali.
They've
Every
got-
Chuppa Chup is Dali.
Whereas...
And he twirled his moustache and went away.
and this came to light at our soiree. Have you seen what they've done to the Freddo Frog?
No.
They
haven't. What have they done?
have. So basically, it is now...
It's smaller.
No, it's a thick entity. So it's hollowed out. Inside it are these little... They're sort of like pop rock candy without the pop.
Yes,
Right?
pop rock
So
candy.
it's like a Kinder Surprise situation. You eat the hollow frog, and in there are these little bits of candy. It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
Surely
Okay.
that's just one variety, though. Surely that's
Well,
not.
the way it was announced, they're going, this is the way it's got to be.
Before I get back to Brandon Smith, if you were having your favourite food item as a sponsor, Dennis, above and beyond Doughboy, what would it be?
Boy,
Okay, Kris, you go first. Think about it,
favourite
Dennis.
Food item.
Are you talking branded or just generally?
You trust that brand and you go to get that product from that brand. I don't mean just a hamburger or, I mean a particular version.
Well, I mean,
And I'm not saying Tetsuya's either. All right?
yeah, I don't know. Chiquito pops into my mind.
Chiquito, really?
I enjoy a good Chiquito.
Yeah.
Well, I like a chomp, actually.
Coffee. I'd probably say coffee.
Coffee.
And well, if it's a branded coffee, have you got a particular favourite?
I like to buy local Withams from Hornsby.
What about Single O, one of the sponsors of the FBI supporter drive this
Single
year?
O,
I'll give them a crack.
Haig's chocolate for me.
Is that right?
I love Haig's.
Is that right?
It's quality chocolate.
Yeah.
Made in South Australia. Been running for like nearly a decade now.
I mean, when we talk
Glorious.
about the Freddos, you sort of lament the changing of the brands, and there was controversy last night on Media Watch about what appear to be almost paid advertisements for the Violet Crumble on various news services when it was Hoadley's, right?
Yeah.
And the Freddo Frogs were McRobertsons. I think they're now part of the Cadbury complex.
Yeah.
But
Which
I
is
used
where
to
South
love.
Africa, isn't it?
Sorry,
South Africa?
Cadbury.
I think so.
Yeah,
Was that Nestle?
I thought I always feel English, but you know,
English will do me.
But it's just those loss of those iconic brands. I like
Yes,
when it was Rosella tomato sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Full-blooded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I reckon the problem was this kid was waving the wrong brand, and it was clashing against one of the Melbourne Storm
Sponsors.
Yeah.
So Brandon Smith had to
Yeah, you could
confiscate
see
it.
straight away. Yeah, it was on camera.
He's very commercially minded. Brandon
Very.
Smith.
He's all over
very.
everything.
The exact circumstances of this,
Yeah.
this shows.
Oh, you're going to shock me here.
Well, this is the level of I don't know,
Ignorance.
malfeasance that defines the Storms. The actual circumstances that they were heading to the team bus from the Novotel up on the bubble in the Sunshine Coast,
Yep.
which I guess was just a shuttle to the stadium. It wouldn't be a long trip, would it? And so you've got a larger.
That'd be a good hour, I reckon.
What
Maybe.
from where they're staying to the Sunshine Coast Stadium?
Sunshine Coast to. Oh no, not to the stadium. No, no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you were talking about Lang Park.
Because they've got the larger bubble audience, that Melbourne got this concession. They got about 160
Yeah.
people in the bubble.
And
or
when they
whatever.
travel, is it like a mobile bubble?
Yeah, that's
Oh, it
right.
is?
Yeah, it just the whole bus is wrapped up.
Geodesic
hermetically.
dome.
Yeah,
It's
exactly
moving,
right.
moving.
It's true. It's a
On wheels.
logistical fit. Yeah, I think that was actually a plot line on the Thunderbirds once, and suddenly it came off its hinges. But so the extended families are in the bubble to support the Storms, you know, and as we said, they've had things
They've
like
got to know each other well, have they?
it's like Bellamy Burger night on Thursdays.
And you're telling me
things like
no
that.
one's hit upon anybody else's wife?
Well,
You're telling me that? Surely that's going to come out.
that meant the ramifications.
Dennis is looking.
No,
he's
they're all
thinking-
robots.
They're all robots.
That's not going to happen.
Asexual.
So the Broad family.
Stepford wives
Yeah.
and Stepford players.
Yes, exactly.
So there's no.
There's no genitals.
The Broad family formed a little guard of honour for the players they get on the bus actually coming out of the Novotel. This
The
is
which
where
family?
The Broad family.
Broad
that's standing
family,
there.
yeah.
So this is the actual circumstance when it happened.
Because they're the only people allowed down there.
Correct,
Of course.
in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
So have a guess who the kiddie who had the lollipop stolen was.
Connected to somebody important.
Yes. Dennis.
Well, I know. So I'm not
Well, you
gonna
know how I
guess.
know who it was.
Have a guess,
He was-
even though you know.
he was-
You know. Have a guess.
I'd guess it was probably one of Bellamy's grandchildren.
No, you got that wrong. No,
Yeah,
it
and
was.
We saw him before smashing his fist against the wall, right? A little kid.
So it was one of Bellamy's grandkids, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the extent of the
How
evil
old
of
is Bellamy?
the man. Bellamy's turning 64 in 2 years' time, so by inference,
Grandkids.
62, right?
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you haven't got a couple floating around.
Better do some checking.
Not that he knows of.
and so the block of cheese, Brandon Smith was on 100% footy
The
last
block
night.
of cheese.
Yeah. And
Hectic cheese.
He mentioned that he sort of got bellyache offside by doing this, but it's all
So it
sweet now.
was a little G up.
Right.
Yeah.
So within 3 minutes of that interview concluding, the Storm have sent Channel 9 the video because they're happy to show that that's the caliber of human being that they're developing in this. And if you're looking for a successor for Lucifer himself, don't look much further than Brandon Smith.
And is this what they call humour in Melbourne?
Yes. Yeah,
Is it really just taking a
I mean,
lollipop?
the kid was in tears.
Really? Because he didn't. He
yeah.
wasn't in on it, was he?
Yeah. And I tell you what, I don't think it was Brandon Smith's personal campaign against tooth decay.
No.
No.
And the video I saw did have it put against Simon and Garfunkel's "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," and you see the child's face.
Hello, darkness. Oh, man, oh, man. Anyway, I'm very afraid about that. Now, listen, you did go to Penrith.
Yes, went to the Riff. Little Everest.
There was a sense, an emptiness, a loss of atmosphere, a vacuum, a black hole, so to speak. No Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah. Look, honestly, didn't really notice.
Oh,
it.
come
Didn't
on.
really
Because
notice.
it hadn't even occurred to me until
Right.
today until I saw notes that he hadn't played.
Right.
Because the game was so exciting. It would have been too fast for the old boy.
Well, the extent of the deceit from the Roosters, right? So not only are they saying that he's out with a supposed neck injury, and I said, hello,
Neck
you try
injury.
Voltaren.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he's not there is, conflating the fact that it must be a serious
Yeah,
neck injury.
yeah.
It's to hide the fact that he's been stone cold dropped.
Is that the best their spin doctors could come up
That's
with?
the best they could do. Is
The
just
best they
tell-
could do.
Right. And
Because
again,
in the AFL, they have a condition known as general soreness. and the general turns up and people are dropped because of general
Oh, what
soreness.
about Jake Friend? What's he?
Oh,
Must be,
that's
he
it.
must be suffering.
Yeah,
Surely.
his traps are gone.
Oh,
I
we
love-
forgot about Melbourne and their cramps. Hello.
we'll come to that.
We'll come to that.
I love American sports reporting. You know, he's suffering from flu-like symptoms or a general contusion is
Can't
another
say
one.
that anymore, can you?
No, well, not in this post-COVID environment. But like we on Friday, Dennis reflected about how upsetting it would have been for kids all around Australia in their non-uni bet Sonny Bill Williams jerseys
Yes.
to wake up to hear he
In
wasn't
the
playing.
select music,
Select
Sonny
music,
Bill.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're devastated.
But for them to be able to tune in on Fox or Channel 9 and not see him sitting in the players' enclosure,
So
it was
they're-
the ultimate insult.
It's
Yeah,
a whole lot of
yeah.
people with red buttons worn out going, where is he? Where is he? Hitting
Yeah.
the red button on Fox?
And I got to tell you, once again, the strangled cat scream sound of the set restart, that shocked me the other day, being
Did it?
there again. Oh, my God. I mean, what Auschwitz sort of refugee came up with that sound as an idea to attract everybody's attention? You know what I mean? It is the worst upon worst.
You know who did it?
Who did it?
Cameron.
He did too. To him, that's
Music.
it's handle, you know.
And there are two issues here. First of all, there's the sound itself,
Yeah.
right, which haunts me.
Yeah.
But Bank West particularly seems to stand out because they've, it's
Echo
state-of-the-art
chamber.
acoustics.
Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah,
it slices through my cerebellum. I mean,
Well-
what was the volume like down in Canberra?
Yeah.
Still cold.
It's pretty loud, the volume, I've got to say. And, the tech guy obviously wants to make it stand out above everybody else, as if anybody can hear. But you and I both know that even those little ding-dong, or when you're in Japan, you cross the street, you often have pretty noises, or sometimes, it's not raindrops, it's something very similar. But your ears automatically go, oh, that's interesting. You don't need to have a cat being strangled, or what do you call it?
Well, I said it's a combination of, you said,
Fingernails.
a cat being kicked.
Oh, yeah.
Fingernails
by
down the
Ricky Stewart.
chalkboard.
Fingernails down the blackboard,
Right.
and feedback from Eddie Van Halen in 1981.
No, that was a pretty sound. 81. It's the 90s. When he came back in the 90s, he was playing jump along with a DAT tape, and they had the DAT tape machine switched to 48, but the DAT was actually 44K.
Is this a true
so
story?
This is a true story. So the keyboard backing is half a semitone sharp. So he's trying to play along. You can't tune half a semitone. So Eddie's playing his guitar going, what the hell? The bass player could hardly hear it. So he's just there rocking. Drummer doesn't know. And you can see that it was when David Lee Roth came back.
Well,
And David Lee Roth is trying to pitch. Do I pitch off the keys? Do I pitch off the guitar?
Dennis, I had a friend's band years and years ago, and they were a joke band, right? And one of their great tricks, you never know what was going to happen, was they wouldn't tell the singer. At a certain point, they go to change the key.
Oh, yes.
And they go into the chorus, and he was ready to hit the note, and he'd go, "You pack of mongrels."
I had it happen in playing. Funnily enough, at a Raiders presentation night, I had a band, and Wayno was playing bass, and Wayno was on a little riser at the back, and we'd played the show, and it was supposed to finish, and the Raiders had come up and gone, "Can you guys play for like another hour?" And we're like, "Oh, sure, we can. Yeah, no worries. We'll just have to, but
For money.
we haven't
Bit of
rehearsed.
12-bar boogie.
They were going to pay us, but you got to pay the staff at the club." And they're like, "Yeah, should be good." So we started playing, and Wayno's going, "Oh, let's play Slow Train Running," and he was going to sing it. So he's come down the front to the centre mic, and I've gone up the back to sing backups on his mic. He's getting pitch off the guitar and the keyboard, who are playing an E, but he's playing an F. So the bass, I'm sitting at the back going, "Gah!" Could hear the bass, and he was just rocking.
He couldn't care.
It was beautiful.
It does beg a question. Are you Hagar guys or Lee Roth guys?
Oh, definitely Lee Roth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Hagar.
The greatest showman. He was probably better musically, but Hagar was all show. Like,
Yeah, check
can
out-
Hagar jump and do aerial splits?
Yeah.
No, but
With tassels.
why can't this be love?
Yeah.
And
he is Mr.
Dreams,
Personality,
two great
isn't he?
songs.
He really is. He's just big, isn't he? You know.
Oh, enormous.
Where were we, Chris?
Well, we're at the football and we're out of Penrith, and you were talking about the sounds.
Quote. Yes, the sounds. We'll get to that. The dual international, Sonny Bill Williams, international icon, as you know, who missed the Tricolours' gripping qualifying final loss to the Panthers because of a neck complaint, was back in training at the SCG on Monday. It says here he wore a blue shirt, then a pink shirt, and later a green shirt. He moved freely during a warm-up and series of light drills before the session was closed to the media. No explanation. Any thoughts on that, Dennis?
Well, I've just been told that he's been selected this week. Now, is he in the 13? Is he in the 17? He's on the extended bench. 17. He's in the 17. So he's not in the he's on the actual
But has he
bench.
got a problem with deodorant? I mean, smell?
I'd
Why would he
imagine
change his
it's-
shirt 3 times in a training session?
Quite possibly it's a sponsorship thing.
Yeah.
And he's got to show the range of colours that Benetton gives
I'm
him. I
looking
don't
at
know.
the pictures
Maybe
here.
something like
It's not that.
It's all Steggles, straight across the board.
It's not that. First of all, Nick Politis.
Yeah, it's themed for a reason.
Nick Politis
Sending
was,
a message, subliminal.
Yeah, Nick Politis was there.
Yeah.
So he feels he's got to put on
Come
a
over
bit of
here.
show.
Yeah, start with the blue.
And he is very nuanced, Sonny Bill.
Yeah, he
So
is.
those shirts.
What's he celebrating with the blue?
Look, I think he's. I think he's.
Could it be about depression, blue and blue?
It could be, but I feel
Yeah.
it's optimism. Like blue
Optimism.
sky.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of blue
Oh,
sky.
yeah, blue sky dreaming, thinking, yeah.
The pink probably his commitment to the queer cause.
Queer
we think.
community, yeah.
Green, he's very ecologically
Green,
conscious.
yeah.
But there's also
Recycles everything.
It's double barrel because
Yeah.
also his moods, and basically he needs to send out to the coaching staff.
Could he get some sort of material that changes colour?
What, like remember that hypercolour t-shirts?
How do you know it wasn't?
And remember the mood ring?
Yeah, maybe.
How do you know it wasn't a hypercolour T-shirt that
Yes.
was changing colours?
Yes. I'm feeling really passive, like placid now.
So it's Sonny was going, Siri,
And I'm
make it
feeling
blue.
really, I want to cuddle you, pink.
Siri,
you know,
make it pink.
Yeah.
green. Siri, make it pink.
And it's all data for the battery of coaches that the Roosters have.
Yeah, and it's to keep
It
the
would be
other.
a battery of coaches at the Roosters.
Unless he's training to be, because blue means you carry the water.
Yeah.
Orange means you're the
Yeah, they must have a
so-
wayside training
Yeah,
shirt.
get comfortable being a trainer because that's your future at the Roosters, Sonny Bill Williams.
Put on
Anyway, he's back.
He's back.
an orange shirt. That's the one that when the ball is charged down and goes downfield to the advantage of the opposition.
Travis
the orange
Toomer?
shirt, he's the one who grabs the ball, who runs in the way of it to make sure that the Raiders can't play.
See,
on
I can
it.
remember Travis Toomer's name, but I can't name you the trainer for the Storms this week who was able to stop the game with the Eels on a
yes.
rampage.
Silly. What is it?
Suni
Suni.
Vunivalu, who went down with cramp. They're meant to be. I need to draw the referee's attention to the fact that someone here is terribly injured and
So-
may need immediate medical
So
attention.
you hadn't checked him first, right? He was just running on the field.
He's actually called it before he got there.
He's got some sort of depth of field vision that says I can sense an injury coming up now. Referee, stop the game.
I suspect the actual line was, "Hey ref, look, I'm not a doctor, but
Stop it now.
And if you see the ground level camera, there's a Parramatta fan, young bloke, in the background. He's all over it. He says, "This is a ruse. This is a G-up, etc., etc."
Right.
But the Storm don't care.
Don't care.
They actually flaunt it.
they sit there and say, "This is a ruse. It's a G-up." Yes, it is. We are the Storm.
You know how people talk about the common sense argument, you know how you can sense something with Storm. People say, explain it to me in facts and stats.
You can't.
It's
You
in
can't.
your gut. You know they're doing something wrong. You know they're twisting the rules.
They're rotting it.
Can I
They're
say
right.
can I say one thing about serious injuries on the rugby league field, which is something we never want to see? But Joey Johns sees them all the time.
All the time.
If we could do a breakdown of his audio, because I did watch the Knights and Rabbits.
Yeah.
He constantly goes, "Oh boy, that looks bad for Adam Reynolds. He's gone down and back play. Oh, Cody Walker, he's really hobbling."
Chris, I think you should have a bit more sympathy for Joey. I think he's a glass half full sort of guy.
Right.
I think there's concern.
It'd be more like half empty, wouldn't it?
Half empty.
Kalen Ponga, I think he's done a peck. Like he wants to break the story of the guy's got the season-ending injury.
Yeah.
Ponga's had a shoulder pre-existing.
Lucky he doesn't have powers.
Yeah, Walker and Reynolds played their socks off, but Joey is always, he's hobbling.
He's hobbling.
So
Yeah,
scattergun principle. If he says it 1,000 times, he's going to
It's
come
gotta
right.
come true, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And there
Stop
was
clock is right twice a day, etc.
and maybe if we should head to a break.
Yeah.
But there was one indelible moment towards the end of the South. Speaking of injured players, Newcastle game, which was when young Damien Cook basically ran the length of the field, right?
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of wisdom
Yes.
pointed out for us from
Let's have a
Ray Rabbits Warren.
Okay.
Damien Cook, fastest beach sprinter in Australia under 15. Damien Cook goes all the way. The former beach sprint champion. He was a beach sprint champion as a kid, was he not? Damien Cook. Cook goes for a run. The former 15-year-old Australian beach sprint
Hey,
champion.
we're back. Fire up. The Quiet Australia. Stephen Ferris, Dennis Carnahan, Kris. What's
The other guy.
the other guy?
The
That's
other
right.
guy.
Gail. That's right. Now I remember. So how could I forget, Kris?
Well, many do.
I tell you what was my well, no, it wasn't my favourite. What I really did love was there were 2 women's games on the one day at Canberra. They're awesome to watch. I love it.
They play old school footy.
They do,
Heads
don't
up
they?
footy.
Yeah,
Eyes
they
up,
do.
Front door, eyes
And
up.
they don't
play what's
muck
in
around
front of
either.
them.
They're really
They
intent to
don't
hurt.
wrestle.
No, they don't wrestle,
They don't
no.
hold down. They actually just play footy.
Yeah.
But you know what hurts is the whole first round of the NRLW was elevated by the introduction of a couple of the victorious Australian women's rugby sevens players. So Elliot Green played on the ring for the Warriors,
Right.
scored a try.
Yeah.
But Charlotte Caslick for the Roosters,
Yeah.
in the number 6 jersey, outstanding.
Yeah.
She
why does
to
that
me,
hurt?
she's the Stephen Crichton of the NRLW. She's just like the perfect rugby league.
Did she have her mates there? Were her mates going Burke? Oh, that wasn't Steve.
No, that's
Crichton.
Charlie
That was
Staines.
And intriguing enough, you sort of think what body types. You know how like now Melbourne have this sort of there's a body type for rugby league, and they're all just big and fast. Except not all, not the block of cheese.
He's big.
He's
Solid.
Big. Yeah, that's it. You don't underestimate how big they all are, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that guy that's gone to the NFL in just a moment, if we could, Chris, because I want to know his stats. The notion that the big, stronger woman, and particularly the Pacific Island women, will dominate. They don't. You know, in the back line, you've got a lot of really, different body shapes for different purposes, just like rugby league was supposed to be.
Yes. I remember the Roosters last year, 2 years ago, had a winger. And it was funny watching her during the game. She didn't walk very comfortably. She kind of looked like she was maybe a bit
once she was
arthritic or funny. Well, gets the ball,
In flight,
boom,
boom,
and
yeah.
just the length of strike. This is a marvelous, like the athlete. The head is staying still. The body is just.
Yes.
And she didn't lope. She's floated really quickly
Yeah.
downfield.
So the grand final is going to have both, I believe. Is that right?
That's right.
Women and men's.
Yep.
That'll be
That's all
great.
there's going to be. There's two
That's
games
it,
that
two
week.
So
games.
they play in the 4 teams play each other once,
Yeah.
and then the top 2 on the table go straight to the grand final.
Yeah.
So this has been the format for 3 years, and actually this year has been a bit of a setback because obviously they're on a
different-
growth trajectory, and funding became an issue for 2 of the franchises straight up, and I think the NRL had to intervene. So it hasn't been a great year for the development of the women's game. So it needs support in this little window, and I certainly, I head out to the grand final, as you know.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I get out there.
It would be great if it was on free to air.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah, I thought Channel 9 was running it.
They are? They did?
Yeah. Yeah.
On Saturday?
The current games, do you mean? No, the grand final, I assume, will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The current games are.
Yeah, the current
They are?
games are on, yeah.
Are they?
You guys are
So
out there. How would you know?
On Saturday on. That's
All day
great.
Saturday, 4 games.
Fantastic. Good on you, Channel 9.
Well, I think I got something right.
Yeah, exactly. Where were we?
Oh, coaches' boxes.
Coaches' boxes. Yeah, interesting stuff. Well,
Well,
we did.
I just want to point this out. I was stayed at home on Saturdays. I was in deep dungeon because I wasn't allowed to go to Canberra because travel restrictions. And so I was watching on the television, and Bellamy's. There was commentators mentioning there was something on the window. It looked
Yeah.
like someone had. smeared.
It
Now
happened
that-
at the end of the game.
Yeah. So the question was: had Bellamy?
Yeah.
Had he had a mouthful of cream bun and
Yeah.
gone, "You're."
Yeah, and he's tried to
sprayed.
wipe it off. That's
And
what
then
I
they tried to
assumed.
wipe it off.
Yeah.
But the official Melbourne Storm, it happened to be right in between where the camera, glass, Bellamy's face. It was right in there, so it actually blocked his face. So he had a little height. He didn't have to go to the back of the room, just to the swearing corner. He could swear at the
No
desk.
one would see him.
So-
No lip readers.
But there was this
Yeah.
smear. Now, the Melbourne Storm have officially said it was a Big Mac thrown from the outside. So someone...
Are we at Suncorp?
We're at Suncorp, Landcarp.
Okay.
Landcarp.
Because I was
Lane
entertaining
Park.
people with Doughboy Pizza.
Yeah, you missed it.
They didn't play at Sunshine Coast Stadium. They actually hopped on the bus and came
Yes,
down today. Okay.
they came down.
Okay.
Do they sell
I might have
McDonald's?
got that wrong before.
Stole lollipops and
Is
all that.
McDonald's on sale internally at Suncorp? I don't know.
I don't believe it is. I believe they had their own catering. I don't believe there's Macca's.
But
in
are they
there.
aware of the IP dispute that was going on between Hungry Jack's and McDonald's? And maybe they were just using, I don't know if pejorative is the right word.
So this is a protest, was it?
Yeah, but just Big Mac is a general
Ooh.
label for a hamburger.
Lowercase, no TM.
Yeah.
Now, let me think about this. I actually sat in 2015 in the qualifying final, Roosters v Broncos, with my previously mentioned friend JR, the long-suffering Roosters fan, who, let's face it, you've won the last 2 comps.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should
Starting
be
to
calling the
suffer.
ref. Don't think you should be calling the ref a cheat.
And I don't think you should say that you're long suffering when
No.
you've won the last 2.
No, but in his mind, he is. You know, and
They're
that-
entitled. Can I say that? Entitled.
totally
bunch.
entitled. And so we were up watching that game at Suncorp / Lang Park, or however you want to look at it, and we were in front of the Roosters coaching box.
it's Suncorp.
Yes,
But anyway.
yeah, Suncorp. And if you remember the start of that
Park.
game,
A news call.
Sean Kenny Dowell double pumps, and Darius intercepts it and gets the game going against the interest.
Don't you
of the
love an
Roosters.
intercept?
It was fantastic. Anyway, so it hasn't gone well for the Broncos all game, and sorry, the Roosters all game. And there's a young patron, I'd say early 20s, had a few,
Yeah.
Redfern Pat style, and he's
That's doing it in style.
and he's every time the Broncos have gone in, he's got out of his chair, walked a few paces, and gone right in front of the Roosters box and just given them, the bird, the gesture, whatever.
Five.
Right. So of course, when the Roosters lose and the Broncos have won, he's amplified his disdain and mocking of the Roosters. And both Robbo and Craig Fitzgibbon are up against the glass.
I remember this.
They're slapping the glass, and Fitzgibbon gives the slit throat
Yeah,
sign.
I remember that. I
And
remember
I go, that's a future head coach. And it was the echo out at Little Mount Everest on Friday night when, because of Brent Naden's brain explosion, Crichton scores, the Roosters have the ball one more time, and then Keary takes the long-range field goal, falls short, and Josh Mansour ends up with the ball.
Oh, he went down.
He went down. And so they cut to Robbo. And Robbo, no one has seen Robbo as animated as he was.
And can
in
I
this
just say
game.
there was no smear to
It was
disguise what was coming
It was
out?
crystal clear.
No gherkin, no mayonnaise, nothing.
Now I'm
Tall
no,
beef patties, special sauce,
Bit
cheese,
of
pickles,
fat,
onions,
beef fat,
sesame
you know,
seed
none of
bun.
that stuff to disguise. There's no lip readers. It's all good.
now I'm no lip reader, but I was fairly confident he simply said, "Get up, you soft prick."
Right.
But by the time it was in the press,
That's nice advice to a young man, isn't it?
That's right. By the time I've interviewed Josh Mansour, who's delightful. Invited me over for Lebanese. It was translated to "Get up, you Michael Lucking soft prick."
Now-
and
now,
even the
Chris-
Renaissance man that Robbo has his limits.
Yeah. Chris, you're painting a very, very pretty picture of coaches in general. If that's what is that a future coach is someone who does that?
That vision's quite foot. That's
calling them
iconic
soft
vision.
pricks. Oh, they're a good bunch.
Oh, they're terrific.
Yeah.
And isn't it exciting? And
And
I'll
if
be.
it-
Well, you and I will all be at the Old Girl on Friday. Is that
Yes.
right? We'll all be
I'll
there.
Yeah.
Will we catch up or?
I maybe. What depends where you're sitting.
good question.
Yeah.
I'll be able
I'm
to catch up with you.
with you, yeah,
We'll be in the we'll be in the
woohoo.
Tower
Yeah.
of Terror. We'll be in the
media lane.
And there's no.
hanging down from the top of the barongal. There's these.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
suspended from the roof.
I'm in the mug punters stand, and there's no post-game possibilities at pubs.
Oh,
or
no,
anything, is there?
At Canberra, literally, though, everybody was warned at dead on finish. You had to leave straight
gotta
away.
go.
Got to go. Nobody could loiter. In the women's game, and I actually called it. They were, of course, coming up because all their families came in. So the Chooks game, there were a whole bunch of Chook fans. They went straight to the fence and started hugging and kissing and photos. And I said, "Are they supposed to be doing that?" And suddenly they're
Are
all
the
going,
women bubbled? Are the women
I don't
in a
know.
bubble?
I don't know. I just asked the question.
You think they'd have to be in a bubble because they're playing on the same field. They're in the
Strange.
same. They're in the clean zone.
Yeah.
But it's a resumption of the feud between the Renaissance man himself, Ricky Stewart, and Trent Robinson. Have I got that wrong?
Yeah.
The polymath.
But
I-
Robbo
I-
and Stewart don't
Actually,
like each other,
I
and
thought
we
he
don't know
preferred the
why.
Baroque period. Rococo.
The Rococo period. Art Deco. But why don't they like each other, Dennis?
I don't know.
No
No
one
one
seems
knows.
to.
But see, Ricky
you
doesn't
know
like
why?
anybody.
I do know why.
Ricky
Because
doesn't like his
Robbo's
cat.
so objectionable. Robbo's so pretentious
He's a
speaking.
prick.
Pretentious moi,
And
he says. Whereas Ricky's so down to earth and
Down to
straight
earth, he
and
says it. I
honest
call him a
and-
Philistine.
And you love him. And you love
No,
him as
I
well.
don't.
You just haven't
No,
admitted
I
it yet.
don't.
Chris has admitted it twice.
As I
that
said,
he
I had
loves
one
him.
little brush with Ricky Stewart at a bar, and gee whiz, he's not the most hospitable man.
Where did you go on Saturday? What stadium were you at? What was the stadium?
GIO, Bruce Stadium.
You know, that's what Ricky calls it. Ricky, in the press conference last week.
But he's a
Ricky-
belligerent little
he
prick.
called it Bruce Stadium. Oh, God love
He's not
him.
a charmer. He doesn't want to be a charmer.
He is. Yeah, he is.
What was he requesting? Mondo Rock or something?
Who?
When-
Oh, no, I was the DJ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ricky
Sugar
came up
Reef.
and requested
No, he
something.
didn't come up. I went up to him and say, "Hey, how you going? Let's talk footy." Just brush me. Brush me. I will forever
I heard a
remember.
wonderful story from a journalist that backs up all the other stories we've heard from journalists where he'd said something about Ricky and there was a post-game and Ricky's gone, "You, come with me." No, you go to the bar, get 2 beers, meet me at that table. So he gets 2 beers, turns up. Ricky says, "Thanks," sculls the beer, and then launches.
Unloads.
And it's just at him for a full hour of just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Go and get me another beer.
Has that cat turned on him yet?
But hang on, he went and got another beer, sat down.
Another load?
So how are you? How's your
Oh,
mum?
vented, done. Yeah.
He's done it. And then now...
What you see is what you get.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas with Robbo,
He's authentic. Robbo's all artifice.
Robbo's pretension and
Yeah.
facade.
He's read about the great coaches and he goes, I'll take a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of
a
coach
little bit of
whisperer.
French history there,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
of
Little bit of
speech from
French,
here,
little bit of
Churchill,
Latin,
you know. Yeah.
Quote from
Latin.
Herodotus, you know.
And that only works so far.
Yeah.
I think they're going down, don't you think? Now, what did I
hope
play?
so.
I make a note, particularly when it gets warmer, to always play Summer Wind by Frank Sinatra at the early stages of the day. And there's nothing better than hearing Frank Sinatra over a big stadium with those strings swirling and the swing rhythm. It's just beautiful.
I thought you were going to say Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts, but no.
No, and I had in my mind during the women's game, do you play I Am Woman? Didn't seem really appropriate. No.
Yeah.
No.
Naff.
So I think I played Alicia
gauche.
Keys, some woman song, Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're not going to break this down. We can't unpack it. It's too much to unpack. Too many layers in the bloody box when you open the box up. I'm calling it the Burgeye box.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of problems with the Burgess at the moment in South Sydney, even though Richo doesn't want to talk too much about it. I know Russell hasn't said a word about it. But there's a chicken shop in Redfern that's really troubled by this because they have a standing order for 16 chickens, 4 for each Burgeye. Now, what are we down to, Chris? How many Burgeye in town?
We've only got one active Burgeye on
One
the
active
field.
Burgeye.
Tom Burgess, who seemed to
Is
shake
he
off all
picking
the
up 16
controversy.
chickens every week?
Well, he can't carry the load on his
No,
own.
he can't.
And I think Luke and George have gone home, I think.
Right.
back to
right.
England.
And now
So Luke's the elder
Sam's
one.
gone to ground, I guess.
He's the leader of the team.
He's the eldest brother.
Has he led them astray?
Well, this is all allegations,
Alleg-
Stephen. And
Can we just say allegedly?
Yeah. And who wants to go into the Byzantine operations of a family?
No.
And understand what forces drive them when they live the particular life that the Burgeye
But that's
clan
the
have
pinnacle
led.
of the Eastern Suburbs Rugby League, even though he's a South Sydney player, in that lifestyle area. A lot of cash, young and fit, big rig as he calls himself, bit of a playboy
Glamour.
mentality, alleged substance playing around with, And this all came out through, we didn't say this, it's the Australian, 3 renowned journalists in the Australian.
That voice of the people.
That voice of the people. Has anybody
So
watching the Murdoch
does-
dynasty?
Does the Australian belong to Rupert?
Hey?
It's one of Rupert's
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
flags,
yes,
isn't
Rupert,
it?
yeah. So,
What does Rupert think? Because Rupert, didn't he try to get rid of the Rabbitohs?
yes, that's right. Yeah. He's still bearing a grudge, is he?
He's still at it.
But I love the story. Which of us amongst us have got a mum who's come to drag us out of a nightclub? So he's at an establishment. Allegedly, he's popped a whole lot of pills and some ketamine, which they normally put horses down with, correct?
Yeah.
Well, keep them quiet. They don't
It's a
need
big
to put
boy.
them
It's a
down.
tranquilizer.
Allegedly. And somebody calls up Julie, the mum, and says, hey, your boy's, he's no good. You got to get him out of here, And she comes down and grabs him by the ear, much like Cameron Smith. You're
Buddy Simon.
That'd be both ears.
you're coming back to the basement. And, of course, that was enough to scare the living daylights out of him. So mothers have power.
Yep.
But often it's not acted upon. My mum's never come to rescue me when I'm in trouble. Is yours?
I still recall my dear mother. I used to busk in Civic in the hole that was left by the Doug Anthony All Stars. I chose to busk in there with little costumes and sing silly songs.
Yes.
And it was '87, and I do the Raiders theme song, and I take off my boots, pull my socks.
Your
over
green
and
socks
there
up.
it was. I had my green socks and my Woodges jersey, and I'd sing the Raiders theme song, and everyone sang along and loved it.
in Sydney?
In Canberra.
Oh, in Canberra,
In
right.
Canberra,
Okay.
Civic. And there's this immortal day where Mum has she's in the crowd watching, got the handbag, hair fresh out of curlers. Dennis, you ruined your socks.
That's Monty Python, right?
And the crowd has gone nuts. And then she's had enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going for a bit longer. And she's just yelled out again, Dennis, will you be home for dinner or should I leave your dinner in the pie dish?
I got to say, it's an interesting point that you make.
Is that what Julie Bishop was doing too at the establishment? Sam!
Burgess. I don't know what Julie Bishop was doing there.
You ruined your reputation.
I tell you, there's a lot of players: James Packer, Russell Crowe, Julie Bishop. Look, there's a lot that
Bronny has brought the chopper in to pick Sam up.
there's a lot that might play out, and there's a lot that's unfortunate. But there's still something heartwarming, as you say, about the image of.
Yeah.
For Julie Burgess, it isn't just all beer, skittles, and corporate boxes with Russell Crowe.
No,
but
it's
she does
not.
what a mother does, something
Yeah.
elemental.
Yeah,
so there's something we can take away from this.
yes.
I think the stuff that's got me more keen to hear more
Yeah.
is the role of the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
And former CEO Shane Richardson says, I just want to point out, don't forget about South Cares. We do a lot of good work in the community. And it seemed to be
That's so
as
Richo.
well.
As well. Yeah, let's not focus on that shit. Let's just look at the good stuff. It says here it would take Mrs. Burgess an hour to talk to her sons, talk to her sons into a car, a Hyundai Veloster.
Is that product
What
placement?
That's not a big vehicle.
No, imagine fitting the
That's a
big
little
two
hatch.
brothers, two Bird's Eye.
You take whatever sponsor you can get.
And the 16 chickens in the back.
Exactly, and head home. Julie virtually had to drag Sam and Luke to her car by their ears, so one in each ear. One in each hand.
What a great image that is.
They were in a very heightened state, but somehow she got them out of the room and into the car, an insider said.
So is Cam Smith not just the devil, he's also the mother of the Melbourne Storm?
Yeah, the mother of storms. So can we just wish everybody and all the protagonists the very best and hope it gets sorted out and appropriate action is taken? And
Is it Christmas time?
And mainly that finally, as should have happened many years ago, South does get kicked out of the rugby league.
Is it, as you said, is this a plot from Rupert?
I think it is. Well, it is. The information has been held onto for a while.
Yeah.
And it dropped at a convenient time.
It looks like it's all happened at once, but it's over various points of time and all layered and layered. There's
Yep.
the doctor, Dr. McDonald, right? There's the
Allegedly.
alleged prescription,
Allegedly.
all that stuff. It's so much to unpack. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't think we should even
No,
try and
let's not
attempt to
do
do
it.
it. But are we heading to the end of this particular
I think so.
I think we
juncture?
are.
Can I just say a couple of quick shout outs? I want to re-mention, if you go on the Show With No Name Facebook page, a supporter of this show, Alex Donnelly, has his Say It Out Loud Day coming up at the Bat and Ball Hotel, Saturday 10 a.m, the 7th of November. It's a amazing race style event. Recommend you get on and see that. Dennis, I know, has got something to plug. I'm going to plug something. This Saturday, if you go onto ovoplay.com and you pay a very modest, I think, $9, $10, you'll be able to stream Wrist Locks and Pile Drivers, which is our first Pro Wrestling Australia live show for about 6 months with actual punters.
Wow.
50 in the training academy. It's going to be a huge night, and it means it's another step towards live entertainment in all its forms coming back to Sydney.
Can you watch it on delay?
Yes, yeah. Once you pay the monthly fee, you can watch that show at any time, and you get access to all the other
So I
previous
can
shows.
finish at Western Sydney Stadium, go home and whack it on.
100%. And you watch
Getting
me and my old mate Rose call the action.
Oh, Miss Rose. Did he have the watermelons?
He always brings.
Candy
He
watermelons?
actually. We called some stuff the other day, and he bought an anthology of sweets from the service station, and it wasn't that good.
Get the watermelons, Rosie.
You got anything, Stephen?
Yes, I've just opened up my iPad and I've got about 50 messages saying I've been hacked on my messenger. What do you do about that?
I have no idea. Is that what you're promoting?
It's rolling down. Oh my God.
You and technology.
Me and technology are not the best of friends.
No.
Oh, you've got it too. Jesus Christ.
So Dennis,
On that note,
So I've got a show coming. Speaking of live show and live entertainment, normally by this time of year I've done about 30 shows, Rugby League the musical, but there's only one for 2020, and it's the season review and grand final preview. It's also the launch of Rugby League the musical, Decade of Big Hits.
wow.
And I just last night was thinking about the season and what I was going to do for this season review, because normally I've written a song a week and haven't done so many. But can I play you a little song?
Please.
Play a
please.
little song. This is pretty much what I see has happened in 2020. 2 weeks in a season 2020. COVID hit and the world went crazy. Other sports shut down. It made me nervous. Then the NRL went out of service. But then in came Valandis and Abdo to save us with Project Apollo. They promised a rapid resumption. Everyone thought the season was over. They threw the 2 refs away. Made a set restart for less penalties. He was criticised by Gillum McLaughlin. Valandis smiled, the AFL ate a shit sandwich. So we say, thank God for Valandis and Abdo. We might try meat, but we're still vegos. Do you prefer Akadaka or Abba? Only they believed the game could recover. Little instrumental break. Breath. TikTok videos by Cleary. Sonny Bill returned, but not much he played. Parramatta and the Storm in the top 3. What a shit year was 2020. But still, we've got V'landys and Abdo. And the wooden spoon went to the Broncos. Everyone could hear the thunder when Fogarty ran, but Papa had him covered. We are in the world of V'landys and Abdo. Yeah, the wooden spoon went to the Broncos. Do you prefer Akadaka or Abba? Only they believed the game could recover.
That says it all, Dennis. That's the 1 year wrapped up. Thank you very much.
It's all over.
It's done.
Yeah.
That's good, Dennis.
Cause I'm all fired up. I'm all fired up and lonesome. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm acting just a little too tough.